Go
Okay.
Africa.
Okay, so you're the one who started this organization, are you?
Yeah, I started the festival in 2019 and then became a social enterprise just last year, January.
Okay. So how many of these Go Africas have you done?
So far we've done 4, even though we're in our 5th year. We had to skip a year because of the COVID, but we used that year to do research
Okay.
and then to actually basically capacity build for the subsequent Go Africas. So next year we're actually going to be celebrating the 5th edition.
Okay. So what was your motivation to get Go Africa started?
This year our theme is displaced, and I'm displaced from South London to Islington, and the sense of not belonging was the reason why I started up Go Africa. And I found that when I did the research that other people felt the same way, some from back home, whether it be the Caribbean, whether it be Africa, even Scotland, Irish. So that's why I started this Go Africa, to bring everyone to taste the motherland in the UK, especially London, and especially Islington.
Okay.
So I just felt that other cultures were celebrated a lot in Islington, but not Africans or Caribbeans enough.
Okay, so what's your take on this?
So I'm a participant. I went to one of the Go Africa series talks and conversations about 3 weeks ago, and actually I stumbled across it because I think I am interested in Africa, its growth, its future, and I was just thinking, what on earth is around me that I can experience and exchange with others who might also feel passionately about the continent and the people in the same way that I feel. And so I was excited to attend today, and in terms of how it's felt, I really enjoyed the interactive part of the event today. So I brought a t-shirt along and did some tie-dye, and it was amazing to see the ladies pounding, which I think it was cola nuts or something like this, and just to see, to feel, to smell, to play, and to see the kids also doing the same, whether it's the face paints, whether it's the new food and the dancing. I think that's how we experience things as people. We're doing a lot of things on the computer now, we're doing things on the screen, so just to be free and to play and to experiment has been wonderful today, and I've really enjoyed that.
So Anne was saying that she feels displaced. Do you also feel displaced?
Yeah, I think I do. I think so. In terms of my background, so my family are from Sierra Leone, and I was born here. I've never actually been to Sierra Leone, but growing up in England, it's been a privilege and wonderful experience. But I've always felt, I don't know whether it's displaced, but I feel similarly to what Anna said. I think I've always felt like I don't belong actually, and sometimes I try and reconcile that, because I feel like maybe it's not a bad thing to not belong, but then I also know that when I come to events like this, or whether it was Notting Hill Carnival, that's when I felt more like alive, or if I was connecting with my family who have spread out to the States or other parts of the UK, and actually when I've gone and visited other African countries like Ghana and Ethiopia, again that sense of belonging starts to come back, like almost as if it's something familiar, even though I've not been to those places before. So yeah, potentially I think.
So you'd like to see more of these events?
I think they're crucial. But obviously I'll let Anna speak.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, Miata has the right to say that. The reason why I wanted to bring her into the conversation, because I know how I feel, but this is about how other people feel. So for Go Africa, the festival and the community hub, it's about growing, and it's about understanding how other people feel. And if they don't feel a belonging, we want to explore why they don't have that belonging, why they don't feel that belonging, and also help to nurture people's sense of displacement and people feeling lost or in themselves as people, or even with their culture. It's really important. So we're doing this and we're learning along the way, but it's really people's stories and people's experience that enriches our program.
Okay, so When did you actually come to the UK, or were you born here?
I was born here.
You was born here.
Yeah, but I believe the reason why I felt the way I felt is because my mother, when she came over at 18, she didn't engage with people that much, and therefore she didn't learn English immediately.
What
My
country
mother's
was this from?
From the Gambia. So she taught us her mother tongue from when we were babies, and that's all we've ever known really where she's concerned. We respond in English, but she'd always speak to us in her mother tongue. And then she took me to Gambia when I was 7, and I learned the language and learned how to speak it fluently from my experience of going to the Gambia. So I think all of those things, languages, food, build up as our culture, and then helps us to stay relatable to our culture. And that's why I really like the Somalian women. I look at them as the same as the Bangladeshi, where they always teach their children as well the mother tongue. I've seen some other cultures, they don't do that, and they feel proud of that, and they don't know how much a sense of loss they're giving to their children by doing that. Because by understanding your heritage, where your roots are from, like I said, it doesn't have to be Africa, it could be Ireland, it could be Scotland, it could be Welsh, but understanding your roots is something that is integral to your own mental health being, and mental health and well-being is important.
Okay, how much longer do you plan on doing these events, and do you feel that it's going to benefit and change people's attitude the more of these events that you have?
You know what, I'm going to answer that in a really funny way. It's very funny that when I decided to do this here, some people who have been here before me got nervous. Why am I doing this in this space? Because for them it's like she's taking over, or who is she?
In this space, meaning Islington or
the Andover estate. So and I looked at that and I thought, as long as the Almighty or the universe are helping us to have children, something new is always going to come along.
That's right.
So it's always going to evolve, and the world will always change. The people will change, but your sense of culture shouldn't change. As long as we've got people back home, wherever our back home is, there's always going to be somewhere where we belong to. And so at the end of the day, there's always going to be something, some children who are new, people who are born. And they will bring in fresh ideas, they will bring in a fresh contribution to the world. Perspective. Yeah, basically.
So do you feel that it's important for you to go back to your own country to really embrace your culture, or do you feel that it's enough in the UK to do that?
No, because racism still exists in a serious way, I don't think it's enough. I think that we still, and I think that's the reason why that there's an issue with some of cultures where their children are displaced and they're acting as if they are displaced as well, because they can't go back because of war or some other kind of conflict. So they don't have that, and I'm seeing the consequences of that. So I do think it's important for us to go back to our original roots in any kind of way, to be able to just connect to that belonging and feeling confident in who we are.
Would you go back to Sierra Leone, and would you live there permanently?
So I would love to see Freetown, which is the capital city and the place where my parents were raised. So I would really love to go and visit. In terms of living there permanently, I would have to see, because I haven't. Sadly to admit, I haven't actually been, because of what some of the things Anna's mentioned. It's been a war-torn place, and it's Ebola, and you see, and I think that's why these things are important as well, for us to feel proud of what we have, because actually, you know, if we listen to the news, all we hear is war, famine, this, that, and yet my experience of going to those countries, you know, again, it's the smells, it's the taste, it's the people, it's you know, it's the washing things outside, it's the community spirit, it's the when somebody dies, we all come round, we all show up, and I think it's important for us to value the benefit of what our culture, what our inheritance have given us, and recognise it's not just negativity. There are things that we need to work on. Yeah, and actually by being in these spaces, one of the things I loved, not necessarily just about today, but in the talks, how Anna's shapes that is by allowing us to be in the space and exchange ideas and challenge each other, because we want a better future. We want to feel part of something, but we also want something for the good of Africa and for the diaspora, wherever they may be.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that we're up against challenges, and only by also being in these spaces can we discuss, well, maybe what can we do? Because no one person can solve that. It's all about how we also bring our different perspectives, different experiences, and bring that together
as a community. And that's the purpose of the hub.
Mm-hmm.
It's a community hub, and I always look to have safe spaces, and it's important. Today was predicted to be a problem because it's a problem area, but I had faith. I myself had faith that because of what we're doing, that we always promote safe family, child-friendly environments, and I was determined to be able to execute that and have a day that displayed all cultures and touched all types of people, young or old, white or black, Chinese or Indian. And I believe today we have done that just from people's feedback, and that for me is the star of the show. That's the whole point of this kinds of events.
Yes, I think you've done a very good job. So
I
congrats to you.
agree.
Yes, and thank you very much for coming and doing this interview with Viva Africa, and I wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you so